Yo, what's up, guys? We got that new units in game, so let's give them a little bit of a look. So let's start off with these are the Hellhounds. They have a little bit of a change in the base stats as well, I have seen. Stats look pretty decent because that's the big issue with a lot of the Hellhounds before. They were simply just not usable because of like crazy bad base stats, but right now their base stats are a lot better, it seems. So what do we have for skills? Skill 3 still the same, which is kind of unfortunate. I expected or was hoping Seek to get more in the skill 3, but we already saw that part. This thing is now... wait, what is the change on this even? There's barely a change on this. That is now the heal block thingy on every hit. Yep. What do we have for Tark? Tark is now gonna be a team up with also leaving a brand. From what I've heard of other people is that this is going to be a good team up where your Chilling would move first and then your Susanna would move after and then that kind of stuff, or at least you would move after. They're working on the multipliers right now, epic. So what do we have over here? So this is going to be ambush. The damage increases according to your attack speed. Damage is increased for each harmful effect on the enemy. Ooh. I already do use... Wait, speed isn't... S1 isn't speed scaling? Was it not? Oh, it's decreasing your speed. Which one was speed scaling then? This one was speed scaling. Okay. Well, this one is also doing damage dealt increased by 30% for each harmful effect on the enemy. I am not too sure how that's going to work with Perfect AI, because Perfect AI... No, actually Team Up has a Perfect AI as well, so both of them would overrule Perfect AI. But that does mean that Tark will always use skill 3 first and then always go for skill 2 second if there are some debuffs on the enemy. Which is not that bad in the first place. I can see this being some meta for some dungeon teams. I'm not too sure about giants, but dragons definitely are 500%. So definitely an R5 unit right there. I'm also already using this in R5, and I will continue using this in R5. Gamir! This one seems somewhat interesting-ish as well. Increase your attack power as your HP decreases, okay, when you take fatal damage, grant enduring yourself, and then take a turn instantly. Is a little bit on a long cooldown. If this had a bit of a shorter cooldown, I think it would feel stronger as a vampire kind of unit. But right now, I'm not too sure. It could be used at some kind of suicide squad team for your siege or anything, but not too sure about Gamir in the first place. And then this one is absorb the attack by 15%, okay, and then skill 1 is just inflict damage, sure. Shamar, which is going to be a steal afterwards, stun the target, decrease attack speed for, okay, that's not too bad, but also not too crazy. Double attacker over there, and then that. Shamar is going to be crazy fast because he's already at 115 base, but he's going to be another 25. And increase your attack speed as your HP worsens. Okay, would be nice if we know exactly how much it is. Come to us, thank you. In addition, your crits rate by 50% when you're attacking the enemy with lower attack speed than yours. And decrease the damage you take from the enemy with lower attack speed by 50%. That's a really big damage decrease, actually. 50% damage decrease and 50% crit rate up is a lot. Then we also have the S2, which is increase your speed for 2 turns and damage according to your speed. That's a lot as well. And then this one. Too bad that the skill 1 isn't speed scaling. Otherwise, he would be full consistent speed scaling on all skills. And that would make him very strong. But at least the ambush is on low enough cooldown where you can spam it very often. I think that Shamar might be pretty interesting. I'm not entirely sure yet how, where, when, and where. Might be more of a PvP unit in the first place. Don't think for PvE. But this thing seems to be pretty darn strong. So I think from these, Shamar, Seek, Tark are the ones that are... This one is speed scaling? Oh wait, it is. That one is. So yours isn't. Ah, yeah. That's what it is. So double speed scaling. Okay, we would need to know the scaling on these. Scalings could really make or break Shamar. But Shamar seems pretty darn strong. I'll definitely will be building a Shamar. I'll give a recommendation of what to build towards the end. We got Tagaros. Tagaros is, from what I've seen before, is we have a multi-hit and continuous damage on all of them. Because before it was like the one target you hit, you were stunning and the things outside, you were giving continuous damage. Now I would say this thing is kind of a combination between a Rika and a Fire Geralt, but then free to play, which is pretty interesting. I just kind of want to see the skill 3. Yeah, that looks like a good bit of continuous damage flying in there. And then you have Death Break on the S2. Good TOA unit. Very, very good TOA unit. Thing is, Fire already had a lot of good TOA units in there, so it's not really necessity over there. Purian, I expected a little bit more from this skill 3, but they did not really increase the skill 3. I think the skill 3 is exactly same as what it was before, right? Yeah. You get a little bit of more bar recovery right now because of the skill ups. Did the cooldown lower? No, cooldown still same. But now you get 55 bar, which is the first unit in game to get 55 bar, by the way. Which is a something, but is it that good on a 98 base? Not really. This skill over here is what we have. The attack receives crit rate and crit damage bonus. Okay. Could be a something, not too sure. Increase your attack bar by 30% if you land a critical hit. Wait. This can be kind of interesting. Because if you team up with this unit, he crits, he gets bar. Then he can give bar to the whole team. That is a something right there. Because you have to work around his low base, whereas a frigate is legit 10 more on the base. But if you make him move by a team up, then that is actually pretty nasty. And getting him to crit should be fairly easy. Also, this could be pretty nasty damage. Cooldown is super short. I think that Purian might have its units as well. Purian gives 60 bar with skill ups. No, he will give a 55 bar. Because it's 10% of the 50, so that should be 55. To work on Revenge, I guess this would work on Revenge as well. I think Purian might have some niche usages here and there. What do we have over this one? Actually, do all of them give bar on crit? That is a lot of bar gain, actually. 30% bar gain on a crit, that's a lot. This one is 2 times. First hit, remove. Second hit, decrease the attack power. Kind of useless. Wait, is that AoE? No, that's just single target, okay. Attacks the enemy with an attack that always critical hits. Yeah, that's not that convenient. That this one guaranteed crits, but this one you want to crit, so you still want to build crit rate on it. Ish. The damage is increased to the enemy HP worsens. If the enemy is defeated, they cannot be revived in battle. Okay. This one is going to be... Oh, wait, that's the strip. Receive crit damage, stun. Yeah. Remove all beneficial effects. Judgment of Light cooldown is... Remove all beneficial effects. Decrease the cooldown of Judgment of Light by 1 turn for each beneficial effect removed. And it goes down to 3 turns already, so you could permanently spam this if... If this was more of a steal, it would be something. But without that, not too sure. And then this one is the one that was already shown. Wow, the base stats on this thing. It is one of the highest attack I've seen, but still high HP. Like, that's the thing that I was kind of worried about. That this skill, the last curse, was gonna have shit base HP, but they actually kind of fixed the base HP for it, which is not too bad. But I'm curious to see if, like, having 4 of those things next to one another, people are already saying, like, okay, let's say you use 3 of those plus, like, something, and then you're gonna super fast clear arena offense. Yes and no. Issue that I say no is you're dealing damage of your max HP. Which does also mean that you have a lot of HP that they have to work through in the first place. So therefore it might take a while. Seems interesting. Maybe if you build 3 with some kind of other unit next to it, I'm not too sure. 3 Drogan, 1 Light Gandalf. Yeah, that's the thing. What was Light Gandalf gonna help with that? Like, sure, he revives them, but then what? Like, that's kind of the thing. I'm not sure. But I would have to see someone work that out in the first place. So currently, we're already farming the Tark, of course. Then, of course, what people might ask, what is the team for this? Just a Frodo plus, like, whatevers. That's definitely a thing. Very simple. Frodo's and a Teshar. What would be my recommendation for building these, though? I would definitely say everyone should get a Tark, that's for sure. Seek doesn't seem that much of an upgrade, so I think you will probably build one at some point, but it seems like kind of a skip is fine as well. Shamar, I'm not entirely sure where he will be used. But I would be surprised if he would not be used. So Shumar's definitely want to build. So Tark first. Shamar maybe 3rd or 4th. Or even 2nd. if you don't have a Rika or a dotting kind of unit, I would absolutely build this dude. This dude seems very freaking strong for TOA kind of things. Yeah, pretty much that. Or if you need some random dollar in your siege offense hit, would I use this somewhere else? No. Well, I could use it to siege offense. It has kind of low base HP and defense, but I could see this being used in siege. I expect Purian to be used somewhere as well. I'm just not really sure yet where, but I will expect this unit to be used. Seek might have faster animations. That is an interesting one. We can check that out, actually. This one don't expect to be used. This one don't expect to be used. This one I expect to be niche. So I would say if you don't have a fire daughter yet, this one is absolutely a must build. This one is a maybe later. So for the real builds, Tark for sure. Seek you probably will do. Shamar you will probably do. And then for the ones over here, I would say this one, if you don't have it, this one, maybe-ish, and then these three, I'm not too sure. This one can be niche, nice, and fun, but if it's actually good, I'm not too sure. But as you mentioned, animations. Is a Seek animation, does it look faster than a normal animation? I think that would be kind of similar-ish. The S2 seems slower. Yeah, the S2 definitely seems slower. I think if you want to use Seek, you probably... Wait, let's... Yeah, if you want to use Seek, most likely you would have to get the Transmog Seek. Because the 2A Seek, I think by the first looks of it, I could be wrong in that. I did not actually record it and then count the frames. But by first look of it, I think it is slower than this. So if you do get him 2A, just give him the skin and then it's still fine. Because skin Seek is faster. It might be that the skill 3 is faster. Because skill 3 animation actually looks pretty fast. Or about same-ish. But skill 2 animation... Skill 2 animation is definitely slower. 100%. Very sure that that is slower. Skill 1 animation might also be slower. Skill 3 animation seems about same-ish or a little bit faster. So we have been talking a little bit more on chat over here about Shamar, but what if Shamar is fast enough to snipe an Ethna or a Sonya? And how do you do that? Well, you have 25 extra speed. If you're more speed than the enemy, you get your crit rate in. And you deal extra... yeah, they just don't hit you as much. Plus your speed scaling and speed scaling. But we can already see how much speed scaling that is because the guys are a freaking god on getting that information out pretty fast. So if we check over here, this one, and that one. Nope, wait, this one. This is the speed scaling we have. Speed scaling is always a little bit awkward to read, like what are actually these numbers. So we're going to compare this to like whatever we have on a Theor or something. So if we add in the Theor S2, which is that. Let's see how much damage we would have on that. So this is the Theor version of it. If we would get the version of it of the S1, it would be 165 over this. Is that less damage? Okay, it's like about so... The S1 of Shamar is about half the damage of a Theor by speed scaling, which is not that bad for a skill that you always have available. The other one, the skill 2 of Shamar, is gonna be... Ooh! Skill 2 of Shamar is very close to the damage of a Theor. That is nasty for a unit that's on 140 speed. It is gonna be 115 base plus 25, so it's a flat increase. But this damage compared to like the full-on Squall damage, we do all know that Squall is an insane damage hit. It is about like a good 20-ish% more, I would say. But those are pretty decent numbers, this one over here. Plus, this skill does also give you the speed buff. Plus, it is not a guaranteed crit though if you're faster, but you're 50 extra on crit rate. Plus, from what people did say is that Shamar does have the awakening into crit rate or something. Yeah, he does have awakening crit rate. So you only need 20 crit rate from your runes to get to max crit already. This thing can potentially one-shot some Sonyas and stuff. Let's actually give that a try in the thing over here. You would go crit damage right now? No, I'm hitting the Sonya. So I built up the Sonya as I normally have my Sonya. So this is normally what the Sonya looks like, except for the left side artifact, but no one cares. Also kind of curious, like how actual fast do you want to go on this? But let's just go all out for the first test. Also, that awkward moment that my Swifts are just better than any other sword I could give. Well, let's just change this one. I wouldn't give this whole set to it, though, in the first place. But something along these lines. Okay, question is, can this one-shot a Sonya? And this should guarantee crit, right? Yeah, we have more speed than the enemy. And, yeah, okay. Very curious to see. What do you guys think? Speeding increasing effect comes after, yeah. It does come after. 27k on the first hit. It's not bad. It's not bad, but it's also not that. But Sonya actually doesn't deal jack shit damage to me, though. But I have a pretty tanky Sonya. You gotta keep that in mind. 23k on the second hit. Damn. That's a nasty hit right there. Like 23k on an S1, that is the moment you already have speed buff. So if you were to get speed buff right away, you will probably do enough. Oh wait, you also heal on the S1, that's true. So you get a little bit of healing. You're very hard to kill because you're fast on anything on the battlefield. This unit can be nasty. So squishy Sonyas you could kill. My Sonya is actually a bit more on the tanky side if you check out the stats on this Sonya. Most people are not gonna have like 14,000 extra HP on the Sonya. You would be able to one-shot Sonyas, but it would kind of require also your best set to get there. Solo and Siege, yeah, I can see some potential where this thing is pretty strong, yeah? Yeah, with an Uldong. Well, I think he definitely feels like value. Let's see if this does more damage or less damage. We're gonna go towards defense right now, but more crit damage is up and crit damage is down. Rather than just full-on attack and then just only the wind. Let's see if this does do more damage. Because it might be a unit where you want to go artifacts, not on attack. Yeah. So I went from an attack artifact to a defense artifact with better lines, and they do about the same damage. So this is definitely a unit which you don't really want to go attack artifacts on, but you want to go for artifacts on that are HP and defense, because his HP and defense base is just horrendously bad. And adding more attack to him actually doesn't value that much because he's speed scaling and speed scaling. And if anything is speed scaling, it's only 100 from your base attack. So attack doesn't actually have that much value. So therefore also this rune is technically really bad. Just having a full-on crit damage rune is way better. Which we can actually switch. I think we have a better version for that. If we were to go for you on the broken set 31 over there. And then we remove a lot of the speed, but for that speed we get in over here. A little bit more crit damage. That's actually less than I expected. So yeah, that's also where this kind of rune you would almost rather go for crit damage in there and that kind of stuff. So crit damage definitely adds a lot of value. Can you outspeed Vio just for fun? Let's see if we can. Let's see if we are able to outspeed this dude on the Vio. Also, I would say HP 6 is not the worst. Well, HP 6 works on so low scaling, though. That's the only issue. But let's see. Vio will. Let's see if I can outspeed this thing on Swift. I kind of doubt it, though. Like, I'd be very surprised if this would give me a chance to outspeed. 206 on Vio will. Is that enough to outspeed this Sonya? I'm not sure. I don't think so. I outspeed! What? Wait, what? What do you mean? I outspeed a Sonya. That is, this Sonya is not the fastest of Sonya though. But damn, that is, it is a 222 Sonya. So 222 Sonya is not crazy fast though, and a 206 on Vio Will is pretty crazy. I will have fun with this, I think, early of next season. If I do this right now on the season, I will probably think my win rate's a little bit too much. But this build, it would need a little bit more crit rate in here. But 206 Fire Will, this is also to the point, why the fuck do you need Will? But sure. You can't use them in RTA right away either. Oh, okay, fair. But yeah, this build might be kind of fun, not gonna lie. I will definitely use this build in some future videos for Siege and that kind of stuff. That's, man, imagine this with a bunch of team-ups and shit. So you let him go at the speed buff and then you start teaming him up with the Tark or something. That's some nasty-ass build right there. Holy shit. Could be Revenge or Nem, true. Him on Nem would be very strong as well, because he does have healing on the S1. And that's actually proper heal, like 30% heal. If he hits on a Death Break, 30% heal from a Death Break hit on this, Shamar is definitely gonna be here to stay. I think Shamar by far best unit for PvP from this whole thing. So yeah, that's pretty much the recommendation of all of those units. Also, if you haven't seen it yet, did already show it on the stream. You can now check out the skins of these and these. I will just check out the ones with the cool skills. The other ones you can check yourself. So you have like big sword guy. They kind of look similar-ish on the skills as before. We always do give a lot of credit to the art team. I feel like the last few skins have been pretty much very similar to the skins we already have. Skill 1 on these are kind of cool though. That's definitely a thing. But yeah, the other ones, if you do want to check them, same for these. Well, we'll just check them real quick. I am also curious if this is gonna mess up your R5 team, because that's always the big issue with the Bale. Does he actually start messing up your R5 team? Or is it faster? I don't know. Would have to check that. And this one looks kind of cool as well. And all of the others pretty much have no skills. Well, Bolfric S3 has a skill. But yeah, that's about that. Guys, thanks for watching. I will be making a bunch of these units. I will also be doing a video recommendation or like team recommendation on the new dungeon, because I do think a lot of people are going to be farming this thing at some point. We can already check what other people have been running so far. Right, strategy info. Can you already check strategy deck? No, strategy deck, you cannot check those things yet. But I will be having a team for this dude at some point as well, as normally. You will expect that, because I do think some people will be farming this. I'm still a little bit in the midst if I'm going to be farming this or not, but I do expect this team to be based on like some kind of Frodo with a bunch of team ups, and then I've seen some people run it with like a Theor or with like a Water Siri or like a whole bunch of those kind of things. Yeah, like Frodo team ups and that kind of stuff is definitely what I guess will happen. If that's actually going to be the case, we shall see. But that is for the next video. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.